On May 21, 2026, at a GKN Aerospace manufacturing facility in Garden Grove, California, a large storage tank began to overheat. The tank contained approximately 7,000 gallons of methyl methacrylate, a chemical used to produce the transparent components found on military and commercial aircraft. Methyl methacrylate, or MMA, is a clear, volatile liquid monomer. In normal conditions, it is stabilized with small amounts of polymerization inhibitors, such as MEHQ, along with an oxygen blanket in the tank headspace. Large storage tanks like this one are kept cool, ideally well below 77 degrees Fahrenheit, to prevent the exothermic reaction that links the molecules together into plastic. At approximately 3:22 p.m. on May 21st, operators detected that the temperature inside one of the tanks was rising. The automatic relief valve and sprinkler system activated. Orange County Fire Authority responders arrived and used unmanned water hoses to cool the exterior of the tank. The visible vapor release stopped, and the relief valve receded. Initial evacuation orders were issued for nearby residents, and then lifted that evening. But the situation was not over. Methyl methacrylate undergoes free radical chain growth polymerization. The reaction is highly exothermic, releasing roughly 55 to 60 kilojoules per mole. Once initiated, it generates its own heat. In bulk storage, the Tromsdorff-Norrisch, or gel effect, causes the reaction to auto-accelerate as viscosity rises and radical termination slows. The rate can roughly double with every 10 degrees Celsius increase in temperature. By the morning of May 22nd, the internal temperature had reached 77 degrees Fahrenheit. By that night, it had climbed to 90 degrees. Responders now had direct gauge readings. Exterior drone measurements had been misleadingly low. The temperature was rising at about 1 degree per hour. GKN Aerospace personnel attempted to inject additional polymerization inhibitor, a neutralizing agent, into the tank to halt the reaction and reduce its volatility. The attempt failed. The tank's valves were damaged and gummed up with polymerized material from the ongoing reaction. Division Chief Craig Covey later stated, "They're broken, they're gummed up with the agent, and we're unable to offload the material through the systems that it has." With the normal means of chemical control lost, responders had very few options left. On May 23rd, the temperature continued its steady climb. By the following day, it had reached at least 100 degrees Fahrenheit, the maximum reading on the installed gauge. The tank was now at serious risk of either spilling its contents or experiencing a boiling liquid, expanding vapor explosion. Overnight on May 23rd into May 24th, specialized hazardous materials teams conducted high-risk entries to visually inspect the tank. They discovered cracks in the vessel. No liquid was leaking, but the crack appeared to be relieving internal pressure. A neighboring tank containing MMA was successfully neutralized. The primary tank remained in crisis. External insulation was removed to improve heat dissipation. Millions of gallons of water had been applied through deluge systems and ground monitors. On May 24th, the internal temperature began to drop, reaching 93 degrees Fahrenheit. The following day, Orange County Fire Authority officials announced that the threat of a catastrophic boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion had been eliminated. The crack had provided the pressure relief that the clogged valves could not. Combined with aggressive external cooling, it prevented the liquid from reaching the superheated conditions that would have caused an explosive flash vaporization upon any breach. The worst-case scenario had been averted, though risks of a smaller release or localized event remained. By May 25, the temperature had stabilized and was trending downward. The contents of the tank were beginning to cure and solidify, lowering the immediate risk. No one was injured during the 5-day emergency. Air quality remained acceptable throughout the affected area. The exact trigger that initiated the polymerization remains under investigation. The facility had a history of regulatory violations related to maintenance and chemical handling. What is clear is that once the reaction began, The loss of the ability to inject inhibitor or safely relieve pressure through the normal systems left responders with extremely limited options. The incident underscores critical lessons for the safe storage of reactive monomers. Facilities must maintain redundant internal temperature and pressure monitoring with reliable alarms. Emergency injection ports and relief systems must remain functional even after early signs of polymerization. Robust external cooling, capacity, and pre-planned hazardous materials access strategies are essential, and rigorous preventive maintenance programs for high-hazard chemical tanks are not optional. The threat of a catastrophic explosion was eliminated through the determination of hundreds of responders and the eventual pressure relief provided by a crack in the tank. But the event was a stark reminder that when controls on reactive chemicals are lost, the margin for error disappears quickly.